I Should Be Writing Season 22, Episode 1.
Well, I should be writing. I should be working on my craft. I should be writing. I should be submitting my next draft. But I'm sitting home watching Doctor Who.
Hi there, welcome to I Should Be Writing. This is the podcast for wannabe fiction writers, and I'm your host, Mur Lafferty. I've been writing professionally since 2013. I've been podcasting since the dawn of time, or 2004, one or the other. And I do this show usually every week just to help you know that chasing after that creative career is not impossible. I'm also very honest about my own trials and tribulations, not to whine into the microphone, but more to show you that you're not alone. Whatever doubt you're feeling, I'm either feeling it right now or I have already. I'm in a weird place right now where I have turned in everything. And I'm just playing around with a book. And I did the thing where, you know, sometimes you read a book like what you're writing because you want to get inspired. Or for me, it's a lot. I always imagine calling it jumping off a diving board because it doesn't, I don't want to copy what the book does, but it'll give me an idea that I can leap away from and go off on my own direction, which is not diving really, is flying, but I'll work on the metaphor. But sometimes when I do that, it could also make me sad because the book I'm reading might be very good and good in a way that I am not planning on. I won't even put myself down and say, I can't write like that. Even though I can't. I'm just going to say, that is not the book I wanted to write, but it's really good. And then I feel doubt, which is what happened. I have a book of, I'll be very vague, but I was going to take a situation that could be played very dark or could be played amusingly, depending on the lens you have. And, I was going for amusing. But I picked up another book that was like, it felt like most of the setup was similar to mine. So I thought, and that sounds good. It sounded like a great book. So I picked it up. And it starts out with, this book portrays the realities of war's atrocities, and you'll find the list of content warnings at the back of the book. And I turned to the back of the book and I'm like, wow, that's a lot of stuff. And I'm actually not sure if I have the stomach to read the book itself after all the content warnings. But also, I hadn't planned on many of those. And then I think, well, one, do I just suck at the whole creation of conflict? Which I do on a first draft, I'll be honest. I like to put people in fun situations and have them come out pretty okay. Luckily, what you guys read is my edit of that. So we eventually get some conflict in there. People working against each other. But I realized that when you write something funny in a dark atmosphere, you got to walk a really, really fine line, because you can make it funny, but you also can be offensive. I believe John Scalzi said the failure mode of clever is, yeah, I'm just trying to think of the proper conflicts that I want my characters to deal with. Remember that I am going something more humorous. But I guess what it told me was I can't overlook the fact that, as David Sedaris says, going from slavery to friendship usually has a couple of decades of anger and bloodshed between them. Mine is not, my setup is not that extreme, but it is sort of like a 20 years after this war, are people just buddy-buddy? Probably not. Especially since the humans didn't win. Spoiler, the humans did not win in the war that I'm talking about in my book, if it ever gets published. And I entitled this episode, Careful What You Pack, because I have a They Might Be Giant song going through my head, for one. But the other one is, we love resolutions, regardless of whether we say resolutions are good, and then we won't go, no, resolutions are bad because it's just setting you up for failure. And then we go, oh no, not resolutions, but goals are good. And then it's like, okay, you can't have your goal focusing on anything anybody else does, because then you just focus on a goal that you can achieve. You don't lose weight, you walk more or eat better. You don't get a book published and get an agent because that requires somebody else. You just write more and get critiqued, etc., etc. And I'm just feeling like the new year has two things, which for most people, it's we're done with the lot of food, a lot of excess, a lot of hanging around and not moving that much. And which is why I think a lot of people do the whole, I'm going to start working out again. It's not just because it's the turn of the year. It's because for the past 3 weeks, there's been a lot of food and travel, and a lot of us are just bloated. I mean, come on. But also, when you've had that step away, you come back and you think, all right, I'm looking at it with new eyes after my break. But let's be honest, a lot of us feel a lot of anxiety and doubt. I know more than one person, including myself, who's just kind of looking at their career like, there's a big cliff there. Are these wings going to carry me? Or am I just going to fall? More than one person who I consider a better writer than me are thinking this. I don't want to bring those fears into the new year. I don't want to bring anxiety and self-doubt, even though I know it's coming with me. I have to remember that all I can do is write. I haven't said my mantra for a little while, which helps me when I feel overwhelmed, especially when the state of the world is wretched. And that's all I can do is what I can do right now. And I know it sounds simple, but it's like I can't, even if I were someone with authority or power or a lot of money or something, I still can only do one thing. And what is that thing? So if I'm fretting about my career, all I can do is one thing right now. And maybe that's post about the podcast on social media, which I have stayed away from since before that emerald-wearing Nepo baby ruined Twitter. And Tree Lobsters, hello! The non-humans release a brain parasite that makes the humans feel okay about losing the war. Oh, I see. That's the suggestion. Yeah, I don't know. Brain parasites, always interesting. But then, if that happens, part of the plot has to be fighting against the parasite. It's like, if anybody's watching Pluribus, everything's great now that the aliens have taken over. And only that I know of, 2 people on Earth are saying, this is not cool. And even people that haven't been taken over are like, no, it's cool because everyone's nice now. Yeah, if you've seen Pluribus, let me know. It's amazing. The season finale was pretty jaw-dropping. But anyway, back to our subject. I'm not sure what else I was going to say about this. Oh, to talk about what I'm reading. I do want to talk about what I'm reading because I am learning things. I started reading The Compound, which was a big Good Morning America book, and it's really it's a dystopian story about it's a reality show that is kind of like Big Brother, I guess. I have not watched Big Brother, but I guess it's the most likely one. It's called The Compound, and it's about people who try to stay in the house the longest, but there's a lot of hetero pairings up, and the violence hasn't started, but it's been hinted at. I'm hoping we get some violence because the people are kind of insufferable. I have a theory about the main character, which is getting me through it. But right now on the surface, she is utterly uninteresting. Not even unlikable. She's just uninteresting. She's like, I was voted the second most attractive woman, and I feel good about that. And I'm good with going along with with what everybody else says to do. And I mean, literally, she has said these things. This is not like me interpreting. This is things she talks about, her own personality. And I'm just waiting for something terrible to happen, so it will be interesting. The other thing is, it's called The Compound. People living in a large house surrounded by a perimeter fence. And I think one reason why they're not allowed to talk about their past, they're just basically like, they talk about their names and that's it. They can't talk about where they lived or what they did for a living, if they have family, etc. But they have hinted at there's a big war going on. That's all we know. That they're in the desert, the compound is in the desert, and there's a war happening. I've got the feeling that it's got to get more interesting soon, or else I'm going to lose interest. I have the sad feeling that if someone were to die, they would have done so already. But there's hints. There's hints that someone's already been killed, but we're not sure. There's a hint that the POV character is more than just a pretty face, and what the more is not very good. But again, I need more revealed, and I'm trying to think when I don't like a book and I can't figure out why. I keep reading. Like, I have books I DNF'd after a chapter. Just could not get into it. Didn't care, whatever. This one, the writing's good, and I'm willing to accept it might be interesting if something were to happen. But if it just keeps being kind of boring like this, I'm probably not going to finish it. I'm also reading a book for a blurb, and I don't think I can tell you what that is. I'm rereading it just because I don't think I've read it since I was a teenager, and there's a lot of stuff in here that I forgot about. Like, I remembered a lot of key scenes, like when Beverly leaves her husband in the beginning of the book. I remember the scene from the end. If you know, you know, and if you don't know, be happy. What the hell was he thinking? I don't know. But it is a fascinating book, so I do recommend it with some caveats. What else? Oh, that's right. My kid got me the self-help book, Dungeons & Dragons, How to Be More D&D. So looking at your life with the concept of D&D. It's been fun. Oh, that's right. I was reading on a more fun level, Recipes for an Unexpected Afterlife, which y'all know I have interest in afterlives and undead, and this is more of a fantasy thing of, I think basically it's the cozy fantasy of somebody going from a life and an undeath of violence and deciding to open up an inn or something. We haven't gotten to the inn part, but we do know that the Death Knight likes to cook. And that one is by Destin J. Munden. You're wondering what we cut out of this episode? You can go right now to patreon.com and download the unedited version, which people receive over there well before the podcast goes out to the public. You can also join the community of Mer's Fabulous, get free ebooks, access to our Discord, access to the archives, and more. Check it out at patreon.com/MightyMer. Again, you're joining a community of really cool people. Patreon.com/MightyMer. Remember, if you are not a Patreon supporter, Patreon supporters will receive this episode unedited with all the bloopers and chatty bits kept in, and they'll get it early and they'll get it ad-free. So you can support at the Patreon at patreon.com/MightyMer. They'll also get the exclusive podcast Stet from Evil Mer, giving you the absolute worst writing advice. It's the worst. It's absolutely terrible. Incidentally, I may need help. My intent is to give make Stet a different acronym every single time. And I know, considering how bad I am with wordplay, that this is a tall order. I might come up with some sort of prize to give somebody if I use their acronym. But if you think of a good acronym for Stet, just email me. Underpope, like the first episode of Stet, keep them coming. Thank you so much. It was a lot of fun to do. And, when you script it, you don't say a lot. And it needs less editing. Perhaps I should learn something from that. But it also takes a lot of time on the front end. My blog and show notes, even though no one cares about blogs anymore, apparently, are at merverse.com, where you can find out all about my books and my podcasts. Escape Pod is the Hugo finalist magazine that I co-edit with Valerie Valdez, also known as The Kids Are Asleep in Chat, and we give free science fiction every week. escapepod.org, and that's a fun thing I do. And then I do these podcasts. So I am a busy, busy mer. I hope that you get some work done. I hope you have a good, positive outlook on this year. Thank you to all my patrons, and you guys should be writing. Thank you for listening to I Should Be Writing, the longest running writing podcast in existence. This episode was made possible by the Fabulous, who support the podcast via Patreon or Substack. Join the Fabulous at patreon.com/mightymer or mightymer.substack.com. Theme music provided by John Anelio, art provided by Numbers Ninja, and podcast hosting provided by Libsyn. This episode is released under Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives 4.0 license. You can find all of my books and podcasts at merverse.com. We did not set anything on fire, and perhaps that is where we failed.